Hey everyone, in today's video I want to discuss why NieR Automata fans are so drawn to Stellar Blade. There are some obvious reasons, as well as some not so obvious ones. In my last video about Stellar Blade and NieR, I saw countless comments saying that Stellar Blade is just a copy of NieR Automata, but even Yoko Taro himself has said that NieR Automata is nothing special, just a retelling of Neon Genesis Evangelion. At this point, its influence has spread so widely that it's hard to distinguish between genre tropes and direct inspirations. Also, I now have a membership option. By clicking the join button below, you can get access to custom badges and emojis, as well as early ad-free access to my videos. This helps me grow my channel, and it's my way of giving back to you all. I truly appreciate the support. Now, let's move on to the video. A quick heads up, this video, and any future video about Stellar Blade, will contain spoilers. If you want to go into the game completely fresh, now's your chance to bail. Now, let's talk about the series that have influenced works in a variety of media. Take Ghost in the Shell, for example. It's had a massive impact on the cyberpunk genre over the years. Or Berserk, which arguably had an influence on games like Dark Souls and even Drakengard 1. In the case of NieR Automata and Stellar Blade, both were heavily influenced by Neon Genesis Evangelion and its underlying philosophy, which itself was inspired by the novel Childhood's End. Childhood Ends has influenced creators across various mediums over the years, from musicians like Pink Floyd, David Bowie, and even Led Zeppelin to TV shows like Star Trek, and of course Neon Genesis Evangelion, particularly the end of the Evangelion movie. Now that we've established that, let's dive into the similarities. Both NieR Automata and Stellar Blade draw inspiration from religion and philosophy, shaping their narrative and themes. I'll be honest, what initially got me interested in playing Stellar Blade was how much Yoko Taro praised it. I didn't play it until recently, but now, this is a series and a studio I plan to follow closely because I want them to continue to succeed. I've mentioned this before, but I want to touch on it again. This game explores nihilism, much like NieR Automata. When you look around, you'll notice all over Zion, and even on the Dead Legion, we see a note that asks Mother Sphere, why? You promised us salvation, was it a lie? On that note, the guys at Wisecrack did a great job explaining nihilism.
Nihilism is the belief that there is no great metaphysical force propelling us through the world and making our lives special. Existence can be shitty, and there's no grander meaning to comfort us. No puppet master to save us.
You could argue that this is another trope that these creators use, but Stellar Blade does an exceptional job of capturing this feeling. The humans on Earth and those in the colony worship a godlike being called Mother Sphere, whom they believe resides in the colony. In another memory stick, we learn that Mother Sphere is seen as their beacon of hope, their prophet. We see a similar theme with the Oracle in Zion. The people of Zion look to him as a prophet, feeling abandoned by Mother Sphere. However, some also begin to doubt him. Arguably, NieR Automata executed this theme more effectively, mainly because players have control over the three main characters, whereas in Stellar Blade, you only control Eve. Both games explore the search for meaning. Characters in both stories struggle with a purpose in life, and meaning is built around specific characters and plot points. However, this is where NieR Automata shines even brighter. Some of the characters are killed off, sometimes by the player's own hand, forcing the player to find a new meaning. In both games, characters must reevaluate their purpose and where their new mission and direction will come from. Stellar Blade even exemplifies Nietzsche's ideas to a certain extent. The people of Zion feel abandoned. Their god is dead. But they don't just reset. Their political, social, and psychological norms persist from their previous belief system. They continue to oppose those meanings on one another and themselves. Even Lily started the game with a clear-cut mission: destroy the Elder Naytiba. From the beginning, they reassure themselves that the Naytiba are the enemy, the reasons humans were forced to leave Earth and live in the colony. However, early on, Adam challenges Eve by asking, is it truly right to wipe out an entire species just so another can survive?
Eve, what are you going to do after you defeat the Alpha Naytiba?
All airborne squad members exist for one sole purpose. All we must do is complete the mission.
You mean the extinction of all Naytibas, right? To think that the point of your existence is to snuff out another species. No fun in that.
Later, finding Raven's legacies only deepens Eve's existential crisis. And contrary to their beliefs, this question persists throughout the game, seen through characters like Taki, Raven, Oracle, and even Adam. They don't need Mother Sphere to dictate this to them. They impose these ideas on each other. Eve and Lily discuss how they can't communicate with the colony until their mission is complete and they've defeated the Elder Naytiba. The creators of Stellar Blade began with the fundamental questions. What is humanity? Can it be lost? Can it be replaced? These are the same questions are central to NieR Automata, though the game explores them differently. Stellar Blade delves into themes similar to The Matrix and The Terminator, where Mother Sphere, an AI system, attempts to advance human life by ultimately destroying it and replacing it with the andro Eidos. In contrast, NieR Automata presents a different scenario. Humans went extinct due to the failures of Project Gestalt. Yet the same existential questions remain. What is humanity? Can it be replaced? Jackass raised this question in episode 4 of the anime.
It was simply mimicking human speech patterns, nothing more.
Yes, but in due time, it might end up becoming a being that surpasses humanity.
According to the game's timeline, after the events of NieR Automata, androids and machines coexisted on Earth. In the End of Data concert, 9S even stated that they no longer had a reason to fight. However, NieR Automata explores the concept of meaning far more deeply than Stellar Blade. Half of its villains are named after philosophers, which adds layers of meaning to even the minor characters and forces players to reflect on their choices, particularly when deciding whether to kill certain machines and what their next step should be. Yoko Taro has extensively explored Nietzsche's concept of cycles for the last 22 years. NieR Automata doesn't follow a straightforward linear progression. Across its 6 main stories, players repeatedly experience certain actions and stories rather than moving in a traditional linear fashion, emphasizing the cycles. I think that covers the majority of the philosophy. Now, a quick note on the religious similarities. In the Book of Genesis, Adam and Eve were the first humans created by God, but in the game, they fused to become the last humans on Earth. Or, as I mentioned before, the beginning of a new human species. Then we have Lily. Her name immediately makes me think of Lilith from Jewish folklore. However, beyond the name, her connection is less clear. Lilith was the first independent woman, created alongside Adam, but ultimately leaving the Garden of Eden to gain her freedom. Similarly, Lily has been separated from Mother Sphere for a long time, yet she struggles with the truth that Mother Sphere has been deceiving them all along. But if we're talking true Lilith symbolism, I think this actually fits the role of Raven. Raven wanted to be the one who fused with Adam. She even said during her fight with Eve that she had served Adam for a long time. She understood his pain, his suffering, and his agony. And she absolutely despised Eve for being the one he chose. Her rage even led to her going on a rampage at Zion. Also, Lilith is described as the mother of demons, which ties back to my question of whether Raven turned Taki into an Naytiba. If that were the case, it would be very fitting. Now, Adam's true form as the Alpha Naytiba looks like an angel more than a monster, perhaps inspired by the Archangel Raphael, which his name might be based on that. In many religion texts, Raphael is shown as the angel of healing, which would make sense considering Adam's ultimate goal is to unite both species. In NieR Automata, I think we see this theme even more prominently in the anime. Episode 24's title change from the end of Yorha to Alternate Eden, a name that can symbolize a paradise or a perfect state of happiness. Then there's Eden itself, which many of us recognize as the Garden of Eden. This connection is fitting as the characters essentially get to start over. You could view 2B and 9S as the new Adam and Eve, bringing life back to the planet. As for A2, I'm not sure if she could be seen as Lilith. It depends on interpretation. I know this could be a controversial topic, as Lilith is often depicted as the first independent woman who left the Garden of Eden to gain her freedom. Similarly, A2 has been independent for the last 4 years in NieR Automata. That said, I am not an expert on religion, so feel free to leave a comment with any additional religion themes from both the games that I may have missed, or let me know if I'm just getting all this information just downright wrong. Both creators have admitted to drawing inspiration from Neon Genesis Evangelion. Even looking at the meaning behind the title itself provides insight into where some of that inspiration came from. Neon is derived from the Greek word neos, meaning new. Genesis refers to a beginning, as well as the first book of the Bible. Evangelion translates to gospel, or good news. The team at Wisecrack summed it up as a new telling of the gospel Genesis. Both NieR Automata and Stellar Blade share this theme, as they both conclude with a new beginning. NieR Automata explores cycles of repetition and renewal, constantly retelling its story. Similarly, in Stellar Blade, once Adam and Eve fuse, they restart humanity. What are your thoughts? Do you agree? In an interview with Kim Hwang-tae, Yoko Taro even stated that NieR Automata is essentially just a retelling of Neon Genesis Evangelion. I've already done a deep dive into this, so I'll link the video in the description and at the end if you're interested. For now, I want to focus more on Stellar Blade. Let's look at Adam. the first angel in Evangelion, and Adam in Stellar Blade. In Stellar Blade, Adam created Mother Sphere, which then pulled a Leroy Jenkins, dropping part of the colony onto Earth in an attempt to wipe out both the Naytiba and humanity. Similarly, in Evangelion, the first angel, Adam, exploded, causing the Red Sea event and wiping out half of Earth's population. A recurring theme in all these series is the desire to unify the world. We saw this in the end of Evangelion, and in Adam and Eve's fusion in Stellar Blade, and in NieR Automata's Ending D. The inspiration for this concept traces back to the novel Childhood End, which Yoko Taro even references directly in one of his ending names. This theme aligns with the hive mind trope I've discussed before. In Evangelion, humanity was meant to be merged into a single shared conscious through the Human Instrumentality Project, a concept echoed in NieR Automata's Ending D, where individuals would achieve peace by eliminating the struggles of communication. However, Stellar Blade takes a slightly different approach. The world isn't big enough for both Andro Eidos and the Naytiba, leaving us to wonder where the story will go next. With Adam and Eve's fusion, we don't fully know what happened to Adam. Did he sacrifice his individuality for the future of humanity? I don't think Stellar Blade follows the hive mind trope as closely. It leans more towards the idea of returning to humanity's origin, seeking unity between the Naytibas and Andro Eidos. One major similarity between these three series is their focus on three main characters. But Adam in Stellar Blade especially reminds me of Kaoru from Neon Genesis Evangelion. Kaoru willingly gives up his individual desires and will for the sake of humanity, which makes sense since he represents Adam. In contrast, Adam in Stellar Blade, being human, is flawed, likely because he was the one who set everything into motion, as Raphael Marx. Ultimately, what ties all three stories together is the theme of a new beginning, a new Adam and Eve. As I mentioned earlier, the NieR Automata anime changed the final episode's title to Alternative Eden, which reflects this idea. Stellar Blade follows the same pattern in its ending. Even the end of Evangelion could be interpreted similarly, with Shinji and Asuka's final scene representing the start of something new. The director mentioned that some of his inspiration came from Battle Angel Alita, and I could see that influence as well. This story takes place in another dystopian future, where the people of the scrapyard dream of reaching Salem, just like the people of Zion fantasizing about going up to the colony. As for Blade Runner, his other inspiration, it also takes place in a dystopian future. The film explores the question of whether a constructed being should be considered a person, which clearly is influenced by the theme of what is humanity. But with all that said, I don't think Stellar Blade is a direct copy of NieR Automata. I also don't fully agree with Yoko Taro's statement that Stellar Blade is quote-unquote better than NieR Automata, and that NieR Automata is just a retelling of Neon Genesis Evangelion. Yoko Taro loves to hype up new games and projects. It grabs people's attention. Both games explore similar philosophical tropes. In an interview with the Stellar Blade's director and Yoko Taro, Kim Hong-tae stated, "There simply aren't many games with female warrior fighting in a post-apocalyptic setting. NieR Automata had a very big influence on me, so I can understand that people get NieR Automata vibes. But actually, I was inspired by many other things as well, mainly manga, anime, and games from the 1980s and 90s. I think that people that enjoyed the culture from that era will feel nostalgic when playing Stellar Blade." He also added, "It's not easy to create something that surpasses your inspiration source. In that regard, NieR Automata has a unique taste that only you could make." He was directing that at Yoko Taro. He also said, "I really envy that. I'm a visualist, not a storyteller. I have always focused on how something looks, so I can't compare to Mr. Yoko when it comes to the story department, but I believe that Stellar Blade's gameplay makes up for that shortcoming." Now, as I've explained in this video, I'm sure many of you may or may not agree. I think Yoko Taro crafted an incredible story. The amount of research and thought he put into NieR Automata, especially considering he has been building this world for over 22 years, is impressive. That said, I wouldn't call Stellar Blade's story terrible either. It did a great job with its narrative, and I'm excited to see more from this series. In terms of gameplay and graphics, we're dealing with the latest in Unreal Engine. Personally, I really enjoyed Stellar Blade's combo system and the variety of abilities that were available, but that ultimately comes down to personal preference. If you preferred Automata's combat mechanics, that's totally understandable. I love the gameplay in that game as well, and I can't criticize it too much. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Did you find Stellar Blade to be a direct copy? Or do you agree that it simply followed some of the same themes and tropes we've seen in other works? Also, there is a link to my Discord server where we talk about anything from video games to anime in the description below. And we're currently doing watch parties of anime as well if you would like to join. Don't forget to hit that like button and the subscribe button. It really helps my channel grow. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.